are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. Great to have you in here on Thursday, October 24th, nearing the end of October. Kind of crazy. Season's moving fast. I said it right before we went on air here and started the show up. We are already through week 7, so now we're going into week 8. We will be officially wrapping up the first half of the season. So, kind of crazy. The time is flying by.
I mean, not quite. After week 9.
Oh, after week 9. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I mean, still.
Wow.
But we're not far.
No,
though.
we are very
We're
close to
far.
the mid-season point, and we're close to that trade deadline. Now there's talks of the trade, all these trades that are going to go down, and
The
Matt
one you
Stafford
just-
now looking into going to Minnesota, which
Can
would
I
be
say something?
insane.
That makes no sense.
Okay, but it's so interesting.
Well, actually,
Could you imagine him going there? Minnesota
keep going.
immediately becomes a contender for
I'm
the
actually
Super Bowl.
hold up. I'm actually coming around to the idea. McVay needs his next franchise quarterback. He can get Sam Darnold from a similar system, so he kind of knows the system, knows a lot of the terminology, so he could step right in Los Angeles.
No, I don't want to hear any pushback on that. Wow, we're getting a little feedback.
I know, yeah. So he could walk right into the Rams and work, and then on the flip side, Minnesota needs somebody that they can get rid of after like a year or two because J.J. McCarthy's going to come in.
It's interesting.
Huh.
It's very interesting. There's talks going on.
Imagine a 5-1 team, good quarterback, and they're just like, yeah, smell you later.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I know.
Think they get Cooper Kupp in that package too?
I don't know.
What would you have to
Cooper
give
Kupp's
up for
going somewhere.
Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford? Sam Darnold and how many firsts?
3 minimum, 3 to 4.
But I think I would give 3. If I'm Minnesota, I'd be like, I'll give you a first for every year Cooper Kupp's on my team.
That's fair.
And I'll give you a second for every year Matt Stafford's on my team.
That's safe. I don't know, guys. There's a ton to get to today.
That's crazy.
Everything around the league. The way the show's going to look is going to be this. Tim's rant going to start things off on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Then we're going to move into hits and misses to close out the first segment there. Into the second segment, we are predicting week 8, every pick for every game, and then bets on a budget, the 5 best spreads of the week. And we are hitting at a 62% clip rate.
Yet
now.
another
So,
winning week. Yet another winning week. I mean, we're just stacking winning weeks at this point.
looks
It was
great.
what? It was like 4-1, 4-1, now 3-2.
We went 3-2, 4-1, 4-1, 3-2.
We love that.
There's 4 winning
I'm feeling a
weeks in a row.
5-0 this week. I like a lot of lines. I've been looking early peaks. I like them a lot.
Okay, good.
No, so what did you do the whole like wherever you're listening, all
Oh,
that?
yeah, if you want to watch the show, you can watch us on Spotify, Amazon Prime Video, and YouTube. You listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the iHeartRadio app. I'm missing a few, but go to theissuesports.com. You'll find it all.
Good Lord. It's funny. I actually said last week I was going to go in on Aaron Rodgers a little bit on a tangent for about 3-4 minutes like I do after, during some quarterback segments or team segments or whatever the case may be, bets, etc. And I said, you know what? I'll wait because I know for a fact it's going to be an embarrassing showing from the Jets on Sunday Night Football when they go to Pittsburgh. Did anybody watch that game by chance? Did the TVs in New York work that night? Is everybody's phones in New York working? I feel like our comment section's been a little bit light. When we talk about the Jets, I'm interested to see how many angry Jets fans are commenting under this video right now, but that's besides the point. So here's the big issue with the Jets, and there's a lot of them. Obviously, they've lost 2 straight. They sit at a measly 2-5. And there's one word that I think it's a very normal word, very common word, that would describe the Jets, and it's dysfunctional. I think it's dysfunctional. I'm not sure how many people would disagree with that. I mean, from ownership who's fired coach after coach and ran good coaches out of the building and brought in dysfunctional situations and bad coaches and given bad coaches a longer leash and fired good coaches. He's been flatly a bad owner, one of the worst owners in football. In fact, since 2000, I don't actually even know when Woody Johnson took over. Besides the point, since 2000, they're 25th in the league in wins. So they haven't been a good football team in a long time, and that starts up top. Now to the front office, who I think Joe Douglas started out strong as the general manager, but he's missed on a first-round quarterback and left tackle. You can miss on a lot of things. Wouldn't recommend missing on a first-round pick, especially when it's a quarterback and a left tackle. So we missed on those. two big strikes. And then you're going to go ahead and acquire a pass rusher who didn't even report until now. He's going to report this week, Hassan Reddick. That's not very good. And then you acquired Aaron Rodgers, and then you signed on to the friends and family plan that included Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard and Nathaniel Hackett, which has just been flatly bad. Fair or not, and he has his fingerprints on the firing of Saleh and the desperate acquisition of Devontae Adams. Whether that's fair or not, you could put that more on the ownership. He's got his fingerprints on it. He's the GM. At the end of the day, he's held accountable. And finally, the coaching staff, who has, again, Nathaniel Hackett, who is, the fact that he's still employed is an absolute joke. It's a joke. And look, this coach that they have now, this interim guy, I don't even know his name. He may be fine, but very, very clearly, 2 games in, he is way over his head. I'm not saying that it's easy to step in as an interim coach and be a head coach for a National Football League team. But, I mean, it's been an embarrassment. It's been an embarrassment of a head coaching job. He's been poor. And finally, to my main point of criticism, which is Aaron Rodgers himself, I could go on for hours on end about how he forced his way to New York. Well, actually, we could even back up. Does illicit drugs, goes into a darkness retreat, forces his way to New York, brings the friends and family plan with him, all of which are overpaid and overrated. Nathaniel Hackett being number one, defends Hackett at every... We could go on and on. Here's what I find to be the most baffling and mysterious thing is how everyone online loves to dive into the film and tell me about how I don't know ball. You don't know ball, bro. That's a cover 17 with a Tampa shell on it. You don't know this. You don't know the run fit. You don't know blah, 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 blah. But all of the sudden, all of these Jets supporters that have been banging on me about the film and this and that, all these guys, and Aaron Rodgers himself included, want to give me all these ethereal, mystical, mythical reasons that the Jets suck. Oh, Mike Williams isn't engaged, and he didn't run the right route, and we have a bad defensive coach, despite the defense really being the only good thing you do, and so you fire him, so we can't blame him anymore. And we were flat, and we didn't have the energy coming out of half, and we listened to the media too much. You get that one where Aaron's like, what's the solution? To stop listening to the media. You're right, Aaron, that'll work. Again, we listened to them too much. And no. That's all categorically false. It's all wrong. It's all flatly incorrect. The Jets lose football games because the Jets are a bad football team. They don't lose football games by accident. They lose football games because they are the New York Jets. And to dive even further, they lose football games because Aaron Rodgers is flatly a bad quarterback. Let's rewind. Let's go back to the Denver game. Aaron Rodgers played a bad football game. We can blame the offensive line all we want. We can blame the rain all we want. Aaron Rodgers was bad. How about the Buffalo game when you're driving down the field and he throws a pick to lose the game? Like Aaron Rodgers lost the game for them. And there is a turning point in this football game when they played the Steelers, and people are like, well, it can't be the Garrett Wilson pick. That's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. You're right. It's not the one that bounced off Garrett Wilson's chest. It's the one where it's 15-6. The Packers have the ball. With 90 seconds to go, you can go in the locker room up 9. Aaron Rodgers throws the ball into triple coverage, allows the Steelers to score. Next thing you know, you have a 1-point game going into half, and it's a completely different football game. That's when the game was lost. Right there. That's the turning point of the game. And, of course, another Aaron Rodgers interception. He has not been a good quarterback. In fact, he hasn't thrown for 300 or more yards since week 11 of, hold your pants here, 2001. I'm sorry, not 2001. 2021. Could you imagine 2001? That'd have been like high school days for him. 2021. Week 11 of 2021. He has not thrown for over 300 yards. Obviously, he was hurt 2023, so you could take that out. But that's all of 24, that's all of 22, and that is, 8 weeks of 2021. I mean, it's inexcusable. Here's a list of quarterbacks who have done that more recently. Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, Joe Flacco, Andy Dalton, Bailey Zappi, Davis Mills, Desmond Ridder. I'll stop there. The list goes on and on. Desmond Ridder. Zach Wilson, the guy you replaced. The guy that you replaced, the guy that everybody ran out of town. And I had to hear all offseason, well, if they could do that well with Zach Wilson, what would they do with Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. How about worse? They have less points. They have less first downs. They're worse in the red zone. They're worse on third down. So how about that? How about Zach Wilson has been better than you? Since the start of 2022, here's Aaron Rodgers' numbers. 223 yards per game, less than a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 36-19. Completes 64% of his throws. His pass rating is 88. His pass rating is 88. You guys ran out Russell Wilson. His pass rating was in the 90s. Like, you ran him out of Denver. His pass rating was in the 90s. You want to tell me Joe Flacco's washed? His pass rating is in the 90s. Baker Mayfield got ran out of Cleveland. Pass rating in the 90s. Those numbers are closer to Deshaun Watson than Baker Mayfield in Tampa. I mean, and you don't think Baker's very good. And I banged on Baker. I banged on Baker for years. I said he's not a franchise guy. He's not this. He's not that. He's a little bit undersized. He's a little bit cocky. He's arrogant. He's closer to banged up Davis Mills. Davis Mills with a bum leg. This is what it looks like. A pass rating of 88. They don't lose because of the wrong route or the bad vibes or Robert Saleh or this, that, and the other thing. They lose because Aaron Rodgers is a bad quarterback. He flatly is not good anymore. Period. End of story. That's it. He's not a good quarterback anymore.
There you go. That's a good one. You've been saving that one up, and it shows. I mean, but there's a lot to... I'm glad you did it now as opposed to 3 to 4 weeks ago when we could have had that pushback from everybody where it's, we're 3-4 weeks into the season. Like, what are you saying? Now we've seen 7 weeks of football. Like, we've seen 7 weeks of Aaron Rodgers being...
And it's even more than that.
Absolutely
We have an even
below
larger...
average.
We have like a 24-game sample size, right? Like the last... All of 24 and all of 22, so his last 2 seasons of playing, we have the sample. It's not good. That's 24 games of him not being good.
Now, do you think, like, the only argument that I see somebody having, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but what do you think the Devontae Adams addition does? Do you think that helps at all?
I don't know. 3 catches for 30 yards? Look, let's be real. Are the Jets an old, aging receiver who has a bum hamstring away from being a viable team?
No.
Like, I don't think that they're an overpaid, older receiver away from being a viable, like, playoff Super Bowl caliber team.
That's fair.
I think their offensive line's bad. I think Aaron Rodgers is bad. I think the coaching staff is poor.
But Rodgers and Devontae Adams are back together, man.
And I think the roster as a whole is way overrated. I think the roster is so overrated.
No, yeah. That was a good rant. Solid right there. Aaron Rodgers, always the problem. And that's not something new. That's something we've been reporting on for pretty much 4 years of this podcast now. But let's go. Let's get into hits and misses.
All right. Hit number 1. Everybody wanted to tell me for years that Jared Goff is no good. Are we aware that he has had the best 3 to 4 game stretch in NFL history? His pass rating over the last 3 games is it's over 150. It's like 151, maybe something like that, or 150 point whatever.
Yeah.
That is absurd.
He was like 16 for 18, and then he was like, what was it, like 23 for 25?
I can pull it up right here. So he completed 100% of his throws versus the Seahawks. Then he completed 72% of his throws versus the Cowboys, then 88 this past week against the Vikings.
Insane.
I mean,
Insane. And the Vikings, they have a legitimate defense.
In those 3 games, Jared Goff has had 16 incompletions. The Lions as a team have had 18 touchdowns. Like, are we aware?
He has more touchdowns than he has incompletions.
I know that Jared Goff isn't the most popular. I know he doesn't run around a lot. I know he's not maybe the most exciting player to watch, especially
right now.
Which you have to understand. Like, a lot of football fans are casuals, which is fine. That's how the league thrives. I have no problem with casuals. I hate, like, soccer, for example, where it's like, if you try to get into it even for a split second, they're like, you don't know soccer? What are you trying to, like, patronize me? Like, okay, my bad. I try to watch one World Cup game, and I'm told I'm an idiot. Right? So I don't mind casuals in football. That's good for the sport. But from a casual standpoint, he may not be the most exciting quarterback to watch. That's why a lot of people like Lamar, or in the NBA, Russell Westbrook's popular because he dunks on everybody, he's real fast, etc. Jared Goff might not be the most visually pleasing quarterback to watch. But damn, is he a really, really good NFL quarterback. Really good.
Yeah, and it's showing right now.
He is exactly how I feel about Kirk Cousins. I think he's better than Kirk Cousins. But they're in that same general tier to me, where not going to do anything flashy, good leader, accurate, on time, in rhythm, no noise, total grown-up in the room. And this team has rallied around both Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. I love to see it.
It looks really good. I love what I see. I think the Lions are a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
I was just about to ask you, do you think that is currently the team to beat in the NFC?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I would agree as well. I would agree. Mr. Number 1 here. Why when I looked at you last week and said, let's take Atlanta minus 2.5, why didn't you punch me? What is our one rule that both of us didn't even remember?
Don't bet Atlanta.
They continue to disappoint regardless of coach, quarterback, roster. Year in and year out, you bet on Atlanta, you're going to lose.
You're going to get burned.
We are reinstating the rule. Never betting Atlanta. We can bet, but then again, we'll bet against them and we'll lose.
Yep.
So Atlanta is not making an appearance in bets on a budget, whether it is for or against them. Period. End of story.
100% agree.
Who do you think is the better team now post Godwin and Evans injury? So Evans is out till at least week 12, they said, roughly, because their bye is week 11, so they're eyeing a week 12 comeback for Evans with a hamstring injury, and Godwin's definitely out. He snapped his ankle, which prayers up. Hopefully he's fine. Long term. Who do we think the best team in that division is right now after those two injuries?
In the NFC South?
Yeah. Do we still think it's Atlanta? Do we think it's Tampa Bay even after those injuries? What's your little temperature gauge?
I would argue Tampa even after the injuries. I think Baker's good. I think the roster is good enough. They can go make a move before the deadline. I think they'll be fine.
I'm gonna lean Atlanta, but I don't feel strongly about it. It's like a 51-49 proposition.
That's fair.
Hit number 2 here. Primarily Buffalo stock I have been buying. A lot of people have been selling it off. I've been buying the Buffalo stock, but also Baltimore when they were 0-2. We sat here on this show and said they are a fringe top 10 team, even at 0-2. They're going to be fine. They're going to reel off some wins. They're still going to be probably the number one contender to the Chiefs in the AFC. Mm-hmm. What do you know? Both these teams that everybody was selling stock on either in the offseason or early in the season, I've been buying all of it. We've been buying together the Baltimore, me specifically the Buffalo. And what do you know? They're both 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, good quarterbacks. That's what it comes down to.
Great quarterbacks.
Yeah, you have the best in the AFC there. I do think it's still Baltimore over Buffalo, though.
I still think, no, I agree. For the record, I think Baltimore. I think it would go Chiefs number 1 in terms of the AFC. Chiefs, Ravens. I would go Bills third and then Texans. I know you like the Texans a little bit more, but I can't.
The Bills
I watched C.J. Stroud throw for 86 yards. I will say
the Bills are the most inconsistent team I've ever watched play football. They'll be the best of the best, and then 2 weeks later they look like, oh my God, what happened?
To be fair, that is the Josh Allen experience, though.
Yeah. It's just a roller coaster.
Mitch number 2 here. I came out and I said I think Pittsburgh's going to have their first losing season under Mike Tomlin ever. I think I had him at either 7-10, 8-9.
I argued to amend that, by the way.
You did, to be fair. So this is primarily a me issue here. Regardless of quarterback, regardless of injuries on the offensive front, who's in the secondary, some guy named Beanie Bishop, undrafted from West Virginia, 2 picks off Aaron. Regardless, defying the odds, Tomlin finds a way to win. For all the criticism I have about him, I'm still unsure if he can get us over the hump and get us to the promised land again like he did early in his career. But you can't deny that he is a really good football coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, really good football. Andy Reid got fired in Philadelphia for not being able to get them over the hump. So it's like, I'm not saying he's your long-term, forever solution, but he's a damn good football coach.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'll have winning seasons. That's the thing. You're never going to lose.
Which is a little bit weird to me because he's like, the standard is the standard. And if the standard's winning seasons, I don't love that. But at the end of the day, how do you argue with 9, 10, 11 wins every year?
Yeah.
It's really hard as an owner to be like, yeah, no, see ya. And we're going to rebuild.
They'd have to go 3-7 at this point to have a losing season. For our prediction to hit, they'd have to go 3-7.
Sure, which isn't out of the realm of possibility given the late season schedule. But I still think Tomlin will be good enough to find a way to 9-8 at least.
The way Cleveland has looked, the Steelers are going to win both of those games.
They should.
The way that Cincinnati has looked, I think the Steelers win both of those games. I think they split with Baltimore, so there's 5 wins right there.
I'm actually, though, curious to see that Cleveland finally figured out that they finally figured out that we should start the best quarterback on our roster, right? Like
instead of just Deshaun Watson.
It took a Deshaun Watson Achilles injury, he's now out for the year, and then DTR getting knocked out of the game to finally be like, oh,
Jameis Winston's
the best quarterback on the roster. I'm like, yeah, he's been the best quarterback on your roster.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm intrigued to see that. Hit number 3 here. This is primarily for me. Sorry for you on this one.
Yeah.
Look, I like CJ Stroud a lot. I do think in terms of longevity, he's going to be a really good franchise quarterback. Great. I don't know. It's probably too early to tell if he's going to be great, generationally great. But I've been trying to kind of pump the brakes on him a little bit. Look, he's still young, this, that. He just threw for 86 yards.
Not
86 yards. 10 for 21 for 86 yards.
Not good.
And, like, don't get me wrong, the Green Bay defense has been better under Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator, former head coach of Boston College. They've been better under him, but nobody goes into a Green Bay game and goes, oh, we got to worry about that defense, I'll tell you what. So it's not like he got shut down by, like, the Steelers. The Jets obviously didn't look great on Sunday night, but a good defense.
Yeah.
So
you did argue that the Packers have a pretty good defense last week, though.
Yeah, it's better than people think.
I think it's top half of the league.
It is top half of the league.
You got to beat that.
It's not like it's a top 3 defense. You shouldn't be throwing for 86 yards against them.
No.
What's your level of concern? 10 being 5-alarm fire, 1 being he should be the MVP of the league. Where would you say your level of concern? Where are you at with CJ Stroud?
A 3. I mean, based on what we've seen from him so far, you know he has the talent. You know he's going to be very, very good. Everybody has a really bad game at some point. This is a bad one for sure. 86 yards is a bad one, but I mean,
isn't it a bit concerning though? I know this was his probably worst game as a pro. Well, the Jets game was pretty bad last year. Are you concerned that he's already surpassed his interception total from last year? Does that bother you at all? Because that was kind of his thing. He was a safe, accurate quarterback.
A little bit, but I mean, year 2, you're looking at somebody that's going to take risks a little bit more, push the ball downfield a little bit more, and show off a little bit more. So I get it.
Miss number 3 here. I really expected the Chargers to have an identity on especially on the offensive side of the football.
They really are lacking.
Because Harbaugh comes in, establishes an identity. It may not be the prettiest brand of football. Like Michigan wasn't the most exciting team to watch last year when they didn't throw the ball at all in the second half against Penn State.
Yeah.
But they had an identity. Run the football, smash mouth, going to control the lines of scrimmage. And for the most part, that's what they're trying to do. But I don't think it's working because at the end of the day, Herbert's still throwing for 300 yards, still throwing when I don't think he should be. I don't know what the Chargers are. I don't know if they're great anywhere. They're good at a couple spots. Are they great at any facet of the game?
Do you think we jumped the gun at all with the Jim Harbaugh predictions?
Maybe a little bit. I think in terms of bigger picture future, I think he's going to be fine.
I think so too.
But to say like this year they're going to win 11 games, I think we had him at 10 or 11 games. That may have been jumping the gun a little bit. But to be fair, their schedule's pretty soft coming up here. So they're 3-3. We could look up in a month and they're 6-4, 7-3 in a prime spot to win 10 games.
Right.
But yeah, so hits and misses here on a Thursday going into Week 8. Don't go anywhere. We will have the Week 8 predictions along with bets on a budget, 62% for the year, coming off a 3-2 winning week. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in. The Issue, second segment of The Issue. What is it, 24th now?
24th.
Nearing the end of October. We'll have, one more episode in October. Wait, will that come out on Halloween? The 31st? Right, just
yeah.
20, yeah, okay, right, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, very exciting. We are almost at the halfway point of the NFL season. We talked last week about how it's kind of like, put up or shut up time, pretender, contender time, and there's much more of that this week. If you missed the last segment, go back and watch, of course, hits and misses, and we talked about the Jets and their struggles with Aaron Rodgers. We'll have our predictions and bets on a budget for Week 8 here coming up in a couple minutes. However you got here, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, etc., etc. We appreciate it. Go to the website, go to our socials. That would be much appreciated. So, yeah.
Yeah. Good predictions today, I'll tell you what. We have 3 splits?
3 splits, not a ton. There's a lot of games where you're like, yeah, there's a clear team here that's like a way better team. Mm-hmm. That's why the NFL's fun, is because there will be an upset. There's going to be a game we both agree on, we both get wrong, and it's going to be an upset. Yeah,
100%. I will say, I'm excited for predictions, but I'm excited for bets on a budget afterwards. Personally, I've been riding my high of predictions. Obviously, this year I have been just killing it. I have 23 correct predictions. I have been going through the last 2 weeks now. Last week I put 2 parlays in. One for the 1 o'clock window, just pick a money line. And same thing for the 4 o'clock window. Hit both of them, turned around, put that money into a parlay this past week into a combination of 1 and 4 o'clock window games, and the Steelers money line. Hit that too. I'm now 3 for 3 on parlays in 2 weeks.
We love that. We love that. For the record, last week there were 3 games that we agreed on. The Chargers, X. Colts, no. Wait, no, Colts did win. Okay, sorry, 2. And then Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there were 2 games. So it's not crazy to say there's at least 1.
Absolutely. All right, guys, here we go. Week 8 NFL predictions, every pick for every game. Here we go.
All right, we'll start with tonight's game. The Vikings traveling to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Not super worried when you go that direction in the country. It's not usually as big of a problem as when you get the West Coast coming east for like a 1 o'clock Sunday game. So not too much of a factor there. This game's closer than people want to admit because Cooper Kupp's coming back. They're getting healthy in Los Angeles. And conversely, the Vikings obviously coming off a loss, a little bit banged up. I'm still going to go with the Vikings. It's a really close game for me. Despite one being 5-1, was just unbeaten up until this past week, and one being 2-4 and squeaked by the Raiders, I think it's a closer game than people want to let on. I'll still take the Vikings, though.
I think it'll be close, but I like the Vikings. Everything about their team I like more, and the fact that they are healthier than Los Angeles.
Sure. Titans at the Lions. Lions are a better team. Titans, are they the worst team in football?
I think so. I don't think much time is that and them and the Panthers.
Carolina. I think Carolina's worse, but the Titans,
if they played each other, that would be the most boring game on television of all time.
I don't even want to pull the schedule. Hopefully they don't. Packers traveling to Jacksonville. This is an interesting one just because it's Jacksonville and weird things happen down there. I'm still going to go with Green Bay. I get a better quarterback. I get a better head coach. I get better supporting cast. The weapons. I mean, how many great wide receivers they have that they're not even paying? Wicks, Reed, Watson, Dobbs.
They
like
got dudes.
2 or 3 tight ends.
They've got dudes.
1 or 2 backs that I like. And they always have a good offensive line. I'll go with Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm going Green Bay as well. There's just nothing that leads me to the point of choosing the Jags right now. Trevor Lawrence underperforms. I mean, there's just I look at that team and it's just
there's not a lot to be confident in.
It's blah.
There's not a lot to be confident in if you're the Jags. Let's go with the Cardinals traveling to Miami. I worry about the cross-country flight. You're going with the Dolphins. Why? Tua is back, by the way.
Mike McDaniel, Tua coming back.
We think.
There's just, I think, more pieces on Miami. I mean, it didn't look good. Their past couple games have not looked good. But I'm not a Cardinals guy. I don't like Kyler Murray. I think the Dolphins got this one.
I'm a Kyler Murray guy, and I'm not very impressed with the Dolphins' defense, so I will go with Arizona to win by about a touchdown.
Okay.
Falcons at the Bucks. Our second split. I know I just said don't let me bet on the Falcons.
I'm going to let you do it. I'm fine with
But I'm going to go with the Falcons. Partially, just it's a gut feeling for me. I worry about if there's a little bit of a letdown with the Bucks after those injuries. Who's Baker throwing the football to? That's my main concern. Who's catching passes for the Buccaneers right now?
Don't matter. When you have the best quarterback in the league, it doesn't matter who's catching passes for him.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I think the Falcons are going, because Kirk Cousins. Walk in your trap, take over your trap, as Kirk Cousins likes to say. I'll go with the Falcons.
Big Kirko wakes up dripping like this.
Absolutely. Ravens at the Browns. Ravens are a much better team, despite now, of course, Jameis starting. I'll still take the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens all day. There's nothing leading me to take the Browns. Not a thing. The mistake on the lake can stay there.
Sure. Colts at the Texans. Texans are a better team. The number's the most interesting part about this game, but I would go with the Texans.
Yeah, Texans. There's no way an Anthony Richardson-led team that looked that underwhelming last week puts up any points against this Houston defense.
Potentially one of the worst watches of the week. The Jets travel to Foxborough to face the Patriots. Gerard Mayo comes out saying his team is soft. Do they end up firming up at all? Okay. I'll go ahead and take the Jets.
I'm going to go Jets as well. I don't think the Patriots will firm up in any means. Eagles
at the Bengals are our third and final split here. I'm taking the Bengals. I get a better quarterback. I get a better coach. I know that the talent, quote-unquote talent, may be better in
it's on the
Philadelphia.
Side. It's on the Philly side.
Yeah, but the production's not. That's the thing. We consider the most overrated thing is, that guy's talented. If that's the compliment, that means that guy doesn't produce. And so, the Eagles are talented. Cool, can I see some production? Not against the Giants. I think I'm getting a team that actually produces on offense. I'll take the Bengals.
That's fine, but do you think the Bengals produce on offense this year?
I mean, the last 2 games haven't been great, but yeah, I mean, they've been one of the best offenses in football. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in football.
I like Philadelphia here. I will say this is the best game of our 3 splits. The other 2 games,
this is the most watchable. Yeah,
the other 2 splits are just kind of. I
mean, I probably won't watch it. I probably won't watch a ton of Dolphins, Cardinals. Won't watch a ton of Falcons, Bucks.
Well, the only way we'll see that is because of Red Zone.
Red Zone. Yeah.
Outside of that, I'll take the Eagles. I think it'll be a good matchup. I am betting on the talent. I'm betting on Jalen Hurts to be better than he has been this year, because I think the mean of Jalen Hurts is better than what we've seen this year.
Sure. Saints at the Chargers. Chargers are a better team. If Derek Carr was starting, I'd look at the line, but it's going to be Spencer Rattler, so I'll take the Chargers.
Yep, Chargers.
Bills at the Seahawks. Interesting one. Again,
this is a tough game.
Cross country, a lot of travel.
And I don't love the Bills still. They're very inconsistent. I'm taking the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills
I don't
as
love
well.
it.
I'm taking the Bills as well. They're favored by 3 for those who care. Bears at the Commanders. I'm almost positive that it is Marcus Mariota starting. That's why the line's at 2.5 in favor of Chicago. I'm still going to take the Bears. I probably would take the Bears regardless. I think I like the defense. I like the weapons. I'll go Bears.
This would be our 4th split if
Jaden
Daniels was starting, but I will also go ahead and take the Bears. They'll win on this beat-up team.
Panthers at the Broncos. That's a corner TV game. And the Broncos aren't even bad, but I will not be watching that game at all.
Nope, I'll take the
until
Broncos.
Red Zone puts it on. I'll take the Broncos.
Yep.
Chiefs at the Raiders. I'll take the Chiefs.
Is there anything to like in Las Vegas?
Max Crosby
I guess
and
that's
Gardner's
it.
mustache.
How long do you give it till Max Crosby gets traded somewhere where he can actually be used?
I don't think he will.
So he's just going to waste away, never win a championship in Las Vegas, and it's just going to be doom and gloom for him for the rest of his career.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sucks for him.
Sure.
Shit.
Cowboys at the Niners. I'll take the Niners. Like I told you, I told everybody, I think the Cowboys are awful. I think they're going. I had them at 2-9. Well, they already won 3 games, so I guess 3-8. So I have them losing this game. Yes, I'll take the Niners.
Yeah, Niners are a better team. Cowboys are pretenders.
I also like them in a bounce back spot too, right? You lose to the Chiefs, they're pissed off. I'll take the Niners.
And you come out and just whack the Cowboys like you always do.
I'm a little bit concerned that the healthiest wide receiver on the Niners roster was shot in the chest like 52 days ago. That concerns me a little bit. That's the healthiest guy in their receiving core.
Yeah.
But besides the point, I'll take the Niners.
Yep.
Giants at the Steelers Monday Night Football. Steelers are a better team and they're at home. I don't know. Is it Drew Lock or Daniel Jones going to start? I'll take the Steelers.
Whoever's starting at quarterback will be running for their life the entirety of this
no
game.
Andrew Thomas out for the year. So who's blocking for quarterback X? Doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter. Sure, go put your best tackle on TJ Watt. You still have to worry about Alex Highsmith and Cam Hayward coming out the middle. You're screwed. You're screwed.
Yeah, the defense is playing really, really well.
Anyway, go through the splits.
I have the Cardinals, you have the Dolphins, I have the Falcons, good lord, and you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have the better team in the Cincinnati Bengals, and you have the Eagles.
The better team?
Yeah, I'm sorry, did I mince words?
You stuttered a little bit.
Yeah, no, the better team.
The better team. That's weird. All right.
Better quarterback, better coach.
There we go. Those are the predictions. Week 8. Guys, follow along.
Better aura, better drip. Should I keep saying millennial words?
Better drip. The Eagles are wearing their Kelly Greens this week.
Are they?
Yeah, that's why I'm picking them.
You sure about that?
That's the unspoken.
On the road? I don't know. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay.
Bets on a budget.
Bets on a budget. Coming off a winning week, 3-2, 62% on the year. Here we go. A lot of favorites this week. 3 favorites, 2 underdogs. We're going to start with that Chicago game, -2.5 at Washington. I'm betting the number here, right? I love the fact that we're getting the hook on our side with -2.5 against a backup quarterback, right? If I can stay under a field goal against a backup, to me, that's a very good value proposition.
For sure.
And let's not forget, Chicago in the past couple weeks, now granted, they were on a bye. They go to London, win, then a bye week. So I get them coming off a bye, and I'm getting Washington beat up. But before the bye week, those 3 weeks previous, they were a top 3 offense in total yards, first downs, and points scored. So I'm getting a good offense, staying under a field goal, hook on my side against a backup quarterback. I love that value. I'll take Chicago -2.5.
I love that one, too. Yeah, I'll take that. This would be like... I don't know if I would feel the same with if it was Jaden Daniels starting. I don't think I would. But in this instance, you have to take Caleb Williams and the Bears -2.5.
Yeah, no, this is not one you're going to like. This is purely me. If we lose, I'll take this one. Cincinnati -2.5 versus Philadelphia. Again, if I'm getting a better quarterback at home, better coach, under a field goal, or laying points. If I get them as underdog, obviously you're taking that. But if I get them under a field goal, I'm absolutely doing that. So Cincinnati with the hook on our side, -2.5 versus Philadelphia. I have to pull up the stats, but whenever we bet -2.5, we're hitting it like an 80-something% clip. Right? Every time we bet 2.5, I'm like, hit. Like, very rarely does it not hit. So I love the number. I'll take Cincinnati -2.5.
All right, that's yours right there. Claim it.
I'll take it. That's fine. This is one I had to talk you into. Cleveland +9.5 versus Baltimore. They're finally starting the best quarterback on their roster. Nick Chubb is back.
Yeah.
Offensive line starting to get healthy. Defense is starting to get healthy. And is it possible less rest for Baltimore? They're on a 5-game win streak. Are they kind of feeling themselves a little bit? Derrick Henry, a lot of carries the past couple weeks. Do they come down to earth just a little bit? I like Baltimore to win. I like to win by a touchdown or more, like 7-8 points. 9.5's way too much for me. Way too much for me.
Nick Chubb coming back is like the only reason why I feel okay about this, because in the back of my head, can you see that scoreboard being like 42-7 at the end?
Sure, but you can say that about every big spread, but there's one big spread per week that actually hits. So our options were Spencer Rattler versus Jim Harbaugh, or Will Levis versus Dan Campbell and the Lions. No. So to me, this is the best bet of the large underdogs.
Yeah.
It feels very 28-20 to me.
After looking into it, I don't mind it, but I'm just saying this is the one where it either hits or it's completely opposite. It's not like they're going to win by 10. They're either going to cover that spread or
they're going to crush them.
Or it's just going to be an outright murder scene.
Yeah. Arizona plus 3.5 at Miami. That's our second underdog. At 3, don't love it. 3.5, we both were like,
I'll take it
absolutely.
At 3.5, not at 3.
Love it at 3.5. I actually like the Cardinals outright, but if I'm getting the hook on my side, I'm going to take it. You need a lot of guts for this little 5-card bets on a budget, because there's a lot of numbers that you don't actually like the team better than the other team, but you love the number, right?
Exactly.
I think Miami with Tua, if Tua's rolling, is the better team. Is it possible that he's rusty a little bit? Absolutely. Yeah. So if I'm getting a rusty quarterback and I'm getting the hook on my side with a better player at quarterback, right now I'm taking that proposition, Arizona plus 3.5.
I agree there.
Pittsburgh minus 6.5 versus the Giants. Like we talked about when we did the prediction, who's blocking for Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, name your quarterback? They're going to be picking themselves off the turf. I don't think Philly's pass rush is impressive, and they had 8 sacks. So, Pittsburgh should have a field day, and it being at Pittsburgh, I just love that. I love the 6.5. And again, a little bit of a hook on our side, they can win by 7 and we're covered. So
this is going to be
love that.
This is going to be a big one for Pittsburgh too, as just a morale go in, stomp the Giants into the dirt, and go into your bye week feeling fantastic. That's what I think.
So we'll run back through. We have a couple value plays with minus 2.5 with both Chicago and Cincinnati. We have a couple value plays with Arizona plus 3.5 and Cleveland, if you have the stomach for it, at plus 9.5 versus Baltimore. And we'll finish off Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh minus 6.5 with the Giants.
All right. Love it. Guys, go check it out. That's on the social medias. You can find it at theissuesports.com. It'll take you wherever you need to go. But that's all we got here today. So I just have one more thing to add. If you're not going to go bet those bets, I'm not sure what's wrong with you. 62% on the season. We are looking good, looking for that 5-0 week, and I wouldn't
say parlay it, but those are really good straight bets. And Vegas wants you to parlay. Now, granted, you've had success.
I've had success,
but that's what amateur bettors do, is do a lot of parlays, right? Which that's fine. We're amateur bettors. That's cool. And if you have success, go for it. But the in terms of value in Vegas, straight bets all day long. Straight bets.
I will take a couple straight bets, but I just love to pray for the parlay, cuz.
No, it's fun. I'm with you.
Anyway, guys, that is all we have. So catch us back here next Thursday. We'll be reviewing Week 8, going over what is to come in Week 9. Fantastic show today. Thanks for sticking around, and that was The Issue.